Ms. Raylio, further thoughts?
Yes, you know, when you project out, that's just what it is, it's projections. Nobody has that crystal ball. We did, guess what? We know when we'd be sitting here, we'd all be millionaires. You don't have that crystal ball. Okay, but you have to look at trends. You have to look at trends, you have to go backwards, look at the trends, you have to go forward, look at the trends. And you know what? It can come pretty close with your trends. So, looking at trends, looking at the makeup of our city, moving forward with all of that is a good practice to do. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. The trends are the trends. It's not the be-all, end-all, but it gives you a good idea of what your budget can be. Thank you.
Ms. Wood, what you want to time to keep rolling here?
Just that I think the experience with Olean, obviously, if you go back 8 years, I wouldn't want to follow that trend. I think there were some bad decisions made. So I think I would stick to the comptroller's office and the folks at NICOM. And I think I'm more cautious, I'm more conservative in my financial planning. I like to know what's coming, and I think we have done a very good job with our past 4 budgets, and I'll continue to cut. I think some of the ways that you also look at your budget is, you know, are you going to need the same number in your workforce 5 years from now, 3 years from now than you do today? I think one of the things we do when people retire, we look at, do we really need to replace that position, or could it be a part-time position? And I think those are the things that you have to consider in your budget too. And those type of things change every year because you don't have dates out there or, you know, projections of when people are going to retire. That changes. You know, people retire when they want to. So I think there's so many things that play into it that I think it's very hard to project out further than a couple of years, and I would definitely stick to that type of budgeting.
Ms. Wood, given your background as a mayor and as a county legislator, what do you see as being the biggest obstacle handed down by state lawmakers in Albany that's holding Olean back?
I think as a county legislator, it was unfunded mandates. I think as mayor, I think some of the laws that we have in place are outdated. I think that makes our job, whether it's through codes, the police, DPW, any department, I think there are so many hoops to jump through that, as you pointed out earlier, it's hard to do, to do business in New York State. So I think, that would be as mayor, but back to county legislator, I think the frustrating thing that, with the mandates, they will tell you you have to do a program, but they don't fund it. And I think that's very unfair. I think it's one of those theories that we, I've heard a lot about a few years ago is, the federal government pushes it down to the state pushes it down to the county, and then our county so far has been pretty good about not pushing it onto the municipalities. But I think it's just the lack of control over trying to get the job done, trying to do things in a fiscally responsible way with all the regulations that New York State has.
Thank you. Ms. Raylio, just to rephrase the question, as a county legislator, what do you see as being the biggest obstacle handed down by Albany that is holding Olean back?
Well, I have to agree. It's the unfunded mandates. And more of them are coming. It seems like all the time, more things are put on us. We need, the state tells us how many correction officers you have to have. The state tells us how many, probation, how many people you have to have in your probation department because of the caseload. I was, when I first became a legislator, I was very shocked. I guess as, I never really paid attention to that, but, every dollar you pay in taxes, 78 cents of that dollar goes for unfunded mandates. So that leaves us with 22 cents to run the county. And just think about that. And, and more now, and I agree with Mayor Witt, more and more now, the federal government is passing everything down to the county, to the states, to the counties, down to the cities, the villages, the towns, and right on down to us. So we are going to have to take more of our hard-earned money and put it towards taxes. Being business friendly. You know, you see all the advertisements, New York State is open for business. Well, unless we change regulations, unless we change the red tape that it takes for people to get into business, you know, it's not going to happen here. So we have that to contend with. There again, the unfunded mandates are killing us. 2% tax cap, which is a good thing to know as a citizen that your taxes can only go up 2%, but it's not a true 2% because then in there's the exclusions. Okay, the retirement's excluded. You have several other items that are excluded out of there. So it's not true, but it is helping. But unless we get help from the state, from the federal government, you know, all we're going to do is keep increasing and working. We're going to have to work with less because our tax dollars are getting thinner and thinner. Thank you.
Any follow-up questions?
Sure. I think Bill and I are both in agreement with the unfunded mandates, but I think we have to turn it around and try to help ourselves. I think one of the ways to help the city and the county is to have more shared services. Presently, we share a lot of services that people have no idea we share. The county, they help put culverts in for us. They help, when our digester was tipping over, they brought their crane and helped straighten it. They put all the guardrails around the city. That's county. But we share a lot of things. As far as neighboring communities, we share vehicles, we share work. You know, the workers will help us with a project, we help them with a project. One of the things also helps the city, we sell to surrounding communities 13,300,000 gallons of water every year to surrounding communities. So that brings in revenue. But another thing I think we can do to help save is not duplicate services. I think we're starting to get the hang of that, but one of the things that I was very disappointed in is trying to work with the county to share a central garage. You know, why should our taxpayers pay for 2 garages that sit almost less than 2 miles from each other? We've been talking about this when I was a county legislator, we talked about it. The last couple of years we've been talking to the county. Let's put our garage in one location, share that facility. We can share jobs, we can share, you know, maintenance. Why should a sheriff's car have to go all the way to Little Valley to get repaired? You would have a service here. There's more potential there. Unfortunately, those talks, I would like to think they're ongoing, but they were paused for now. But I'm more than willing to come back to the table and bring them up again. But again, just sharing services. We have to help ourselves. New York State isn't going to help us, and heaven forbid we wait for the federal government to step in and help us. So we have to do more with shared services, and I think sharing a garage would be a good step forward.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. As for shared services, yes, shared services is a wonderful thing, and it is going on between the county. But you know, back here, probably 7 months ago, maybe even longer, I sat in on a meeting over the shared garage facility, and Tom Windus was there, I was there, Joe Pelletier was there, and we had an architect there, architectural firm that showed us things. Well, you know, we talked about it, and we said, yeah, you know, it's a great idea. Let's move forward. We have not heard anything from the city since then. So it's not on our end. We want to share services, okay? We want to share more services. We have offered to have all of the city vehicles gas up at 7th Street, that they could go there to gas up, so the city would not have to have their own gas pumps at the city garage. So, but we were turned down. So it's not, so we do want to provide more shared services. So we have to look at that. We have to find out why. Why not? There has been grants out there, shared services grants to go after equipment. the city has elected not to be part of them. So we have to look at all of that. We have to take a look at where can we team up and where can we do a better job. Yes, shared services, we are doing a good job. We need to do a better job. Thank you.
I think there's a little room here to continue this discussion. Go ahead.
I agree. I would love to come to your next DPW department committee meeting and bring my director, Tom Windus, and start talking about the garage again, because if you're saying that it's us and I'm saying it's you, maybe we have a miscommunication here. So I'm more off for talking, Bill. Put me on your schedule. The other thing to point out is we did have a talk about purchasing gas to the county. We would pay for the gas, but we also were asked to pay, and I remember if it was 3 or 5 cents per gallon for an administrative fee. We're not going to, spend that money on an administrative fee when it's already taxpayers' gas that we're paying. That was unacceptable. But going forward, I would definitely love to be on your committee, come down and talk about sharing a facility. One of the things that we thought would be possible, if we shared a facility with the county, that somehow, somewhere along the line, we could also share it with the school district. We could share it with the state. The state has a facility up just before the Hinsdale exit. And we offered, this is right on I-86, you guys can, get off and on. They have I think a salt shed there, but this was offering, maintenance, whatever, different services there. And I think this is something that's still doable, and I'd be more than willing to come and talk at your next committee meeting, Bill.
Thank you. The administrative fee that Erwin is talking about, yes, it is a 5% administrative fee, but you got to look at what that would give the city. Right now, when a county vehicle pulls into the gas pump, okay, they use a card, okay, now it's a fob, and that's assigned to that vehicle. So it tracks the mileage. Okay, the mileage has been put in, it tracks the mileage, all right? It tracks the amount of fuel used. It also gives them every time the vehicle is due for service. So you get all of that. That would be done at county level, where it wouldn't have to be done at the DPW office. So that's a function that would not. So you have to look at all of that. So, would it be a better deal? We have to look at all of that. We have to weigh that out. Is that a function that I don't know who does it up in DPW at City of Olean, but I'm sure it's assigned to one of the office people there. And that would be, they could go on to do other things and not have to do that. You would get a report from the county on the amount of gas that's being used, and everything would be laid out there. As for the salt shed or the new garage, great idea. And yes, you could bring in school districts for gasoline. You could bring in like the rehabilitation center. They could purchase the gas there. We have a lot of purchasing agreements throughout the county with different entities, schools, and things like that. So it's a great idea. It's something that we have to look at, and we have to look hard at it, and we have to come up with all the information and all the facts, and then make an informed decision. Thank you.
Good ideas from both sides here. I remind each candidate that you have been on the record, and the people here tonight will be making sure that you follow through on these